You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Live at 4. 2 months after an Amber Alert was issued for a missing pregnant teen from Beaver Dam, she has been found safe.
17-year-old Sophia Franklin, who is 5 months pregnant, was found at a truck stop near Omaha, Nebraska by a trucker who became suspicious when she saw Franklin with 40-year-old Gary Day, the father of her unborn child. The female trucker alerted police and Day was taken into custody. Today, Sophia's mother had this to say.
I can't even begin to say how grateful I am. They found her on her birthday. Like, wow. If that's not a God thing, I don't know what is.
Leah says the immediate plan for their family is to just love on their daughter and show her support. The Sarpy County Sheriff's Office in Nebraska says the way Sophia was found was a textbook example of when you see something, say something.
But it's the adage, if something doesn't seem right, pick up the phone and call 911.
News 3 Now has been following this story ever since the Amber Alert was first issued back in February.
Our Tanisha Shaw is live in Beaver Dam and has more details about how Franklin was found and what the next steps are. Tanisha?
Hi, Brady and Susan. Yes, I'm here in Beaver Dam, right outside the police department, where Sophia is expected to be reunited with her family at some point. Right now, we don't know exactly when that is. But as you guys said earlier today, Sarpy County, that's in Nebraska, held a press conference just a couple hours ago. They said a trucker and his wife tipped off authorities after seeing the 17-year-old Sophia Franklin with 40-year-old Gary Day at a truck stop outside of Omaha, Nebraska. Now, she has been missing for exactly 2 months. Beaver Dam police say Franklin is pregnant with Day's child. Police confirmed that both Franklin is nearly 5 months pregnant, but thankfully, her and the child are safe. This case activated Amber Alerts in Wisconsin, Arkansas, and Missouri. Earlier today, Beaver Dam police told me about how their resources across from states to states are being used.
2 males and a female. The female was pregnant and younger, and the other males were older. And the female that was in the first truck that drove into the bus or truck stop thought it looked suspicious and thought it didn't look right, so she decided that she was going to go over and have a conversation with them. So she went over and had a conversation with Sophia, which she didn't know was Sophia at the time, and started talking to her and asking her a lot of questions because she felt this didn't seem right. It didn't seem to her that this was not something normal for her, so she had to ask some questions.
And again, that's Beaver Dam's police chief talking about how they found Sophia. Right now, Gary Day, who is the suspect in this case, has active search warrants, not only in Wisconsin, but in other states as well. Right now, he is in custody in Nebraska. They're working to figure out which agency he will be in custody in and how they will go on about this case. Now, I'm talking to the police chief here in Beaver Dam and other people as well to figure out more about this ongoing case, and I'll have more reports throughout the night. Reporting in Beaver Dam, Tanisha Shaw, News 3 Now.
Tanisha, thank you. President Trump's sweeping new tariffs are sending shockwaves through global markets. Stocks in Beijing and Tokyo tumbled, and world leaders are condemning the move. The European Union faces a 20% tariff, with its commission chief warning of economic disruption. Vietnam is hit even harder with a 46% tariff, sparking fears of rising costs. Meanwhile, the UK is breathing a slight sigh of relief, receiving the lowest levy at 10%. As tensions rise, EU leaders say they won't retaliate just yet, but they're ready to negotiate.
Shares of Apple tumbled nearly 9% this morning shortly after the market opened. That's a nearly $300 billion loss in market value. Apple makes products abroad in places like China, Vietnam, and India. The iPhone maker could take a significant hit from tariffs when importing goods for U.S. consumers. In other news locally, a Madison man is facing charges after a stabbing downtown. 52-year-old Anthony Harper has been charged with recklessly endangering safety and use of a dangerous weapon. Police say a man was found near Gilman and State Streets with severe cuts to his face and wrist. Harper, who admitted to always carrying a knife, is scheduled for a competency hearing on April 28th. Now let's get a look at your first warn forecast.
Blaze Keller is out on the patio with what's ahead. Blaze.
And a much different story than yesterday. Temperatures a little bit cooler, no severe weather in the forecast, and we got a mix of partly sunny to mostly cloudy conditions. As we head into the rest of our evening, we are going to sit quietly. So we're not expecting any rain or any severe weather for that matter until maybe Friday night. And we're only expecting showers, not any severe weather. 40s and a few 50s popping up across southern Wisconsin. We're at 50 in Verona, 49 in Mount Horeb, and 46 in Sun Prairie. We got some dying winds out there. It's been breezy all day, but wind gusts upwards of about 20 to 25 miles per hour in Janesville and then further east as you get closer to Lake Michigan. Over the next couple of hours, we are going to steadily cool, sitting underneath these partly sunny, turning partly cloudy to mostly cloudy conditions, and we'll eventually hang out in the 30s. We'll time out those rain showers on Friday in the full forecast.
Thank you, Blaze. Well, financial literacy is probably not the first thing you think of when talking about lessons you learned in primary school.
But today in Lodi, K through second graders started talking about money. Our Merrill Hubbard shows us what they learned.
This is a piggy bank that one of the second graders, Bowie, carefully crafted because today's lesson is all about saving.
Why should you keep your money in the bank?
Lodi high school students became finance teachers at Lodi Primary School, giving children a short lesson on how to count, save, and spend money. The high schoolers are in a financial literacy class of their own and taking those lessons to a younger class as part of a nationwide campaign called Jumpstart Teen Teach-In. The high schoolers say it's about teaching them the basics, whether it's picking your piggy bank or finding the best deals.
Black Friday.
They are starting the conversation around spending.
It's kind of once you start too late and you make those mistakes, you're really in a hole, and to try to dig yourself out is almost impossible sometimes. So trying to get that instilled early in the kids so we don't have those financial mistakes happening after they get out of high school.
Christy Paskey is a math and financial literacy teacher at Lodi High School. She spearheaded the Teen Teach-In for Lodi High, joining them with the National Jumpstart Coalition. Reporting in Lodi, Merrill Hubbard, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Merrill. At the state capitol, the battle over control of a $50 million childhood literacy program is raising questions about the separation of powers. The state legislature has funneled funds through an account controlled by the Joint Committee on Finance, giving them significant influence over how the program is implemented. This arrangement is under scrutiny as the Wisconsin Supreme Court hears a case that could reshape how the legislature and executive branch manage state funds.
Our first goal is we're asking this court for a declaration that that the legislature can't put money in this emergency fund from these omnibus motions where the amounts are set aside for specific agencies and specific purposes.
DPI has had a version of this statutory authority for 76 years. It has employed this authority without controversy for at least 36 years. It started in 1989, both parties have done it. The governor knows full well going into each budget what the rules are.
The court's decision could have major implications not only for the literacy program, but for the future of how state agencies are funded and controlled in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice Ann Walsh Bradley has been elected Chief Justice, marking a shift in leadership for the state's highest court. This comes 2 days after a major judicial victory for liberals, securing a 4-3 majority. Walsh Bradley, the longest-serving liberal-leaning justice, will retire in July, passing the torch to Justice Jill Karofsky.
And although at times when you read our opinions, and dare I say even our separate opinions, right, know that we are unified in our dedication to our mission, our calling, if you will, to be justices of the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
Justice-elect Susan Crawford will be replacing Justice Bradley. Well, next on Live at 4, a cool weekend ahead, and we haven't seen the last of snow this season.
You knew it.
Of course not. Well, Blaze lets us know what's ahead with the first warn forecast.
But first, parts of the Midwest and South are still reeling from yesterday's storms, causing devastation in several states, with nearly 50 tornadoes touching down. That's when we come back. Dozens of tornado and severe thunderstorm warnings were issued in Arkansas, Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, and Mississippi.
The Missouri State Highway Patrol reported one person was killed in southeast Missouri. CBS's Jared Hill has the latest.
A possible tornado spotted in Lake City, Arkansas Wednesday.
Power flashes!
The National Weather Service warned people in the northeastern part of the state of what it called a life-threatening situation. Now a massive cleanup across much of the Mid-South.
We had about 20 seconds to start getting up, getting ready before we started hearing the wind picking up.
A likely twister ripped through Owasso, Oklahoma, destroying some homes, sparing others almost entirely. Near Bourbon, Indiana, severe storms shut down U.S. Route 30, where multiple tractor trailers flipped on their sides. Winds sliced the siding off of buildings as rain continued overnight. In northern Tennessee, people spent Wednesday preparing for river flooding.
We were hoping that it wouldn't get in the basement.
Dave Scott was stacking sandbags as high as he could to keep the water out of his neighbor's home. Their basement just flooded in February when nearly 7 inches of rain fell in Clarksville over just 48 hours. Up north, it was a spring ice storm that devastated parts of northern Michigan, knocking power out to nearly 100,000 homes and businesses.
It's kind of an all-hands-on-deck moment.
And some of the hardest hit parts of the country aren't out of the woods just yet. Jared Hill, CBS News.
And the region could continue to see severe weather through Saturday.
And of course, our hearts go out to everyone affected. But Blaze Keller is here with a bigger picture of how those warnings looked and how we compare to the rest of the country.
That's right. We had our 3 tornado warnings, and over the last 24 hours, a grand total of 728 warnings were issued. Severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings. That's the third most active 24 hours since 1986 in terms of the number of severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings issued by the National Weather Service. The super outbreak of 2011 continues to be the most active 24-hour period, with nearly 900 severe thunderstorm warnings and or tornado warnings issued in a 24-hour period. We had our tornado warnings, as I mentioned, due to the fact that we had supercell thunderstorms moving through the area. This was taken by Tim out in Columbia County. You can see that wall cloud here, the lowering and the rotation of that storm as it moved through parts of not only Dane County, but Columbia County as well. We only had one report of a confirmed funnel that was spotted by storm spotter Jordan out in the Albany area. Thankfully, we had no confirmed touchdowns. And as we move forward, we're not anticipating any severe weather either. We're going to be sitting underneath some clouds tonight. Afternoon rain moves in after clouds return and become more cloudy as we go into your Friday. And then throughout the weekend, we stay seasonal and for the most part dry, but we could see some of those showers from Friday night linger into your Saturday morning. So clouds are going to continue to increase as we go throughout your Friday. There's the rain beginning to move in as we head into the second half of your day. Most of that activity holds off until the early morning hours on Saturday, and then we push that off towards the east, and we're sitting underneath more partly sunny conditions as we go throughout your Saturday. We will see the return of showers as we go into your Sunday night into Monday. That could be a rain-snow mix with minimal snow accumulations. So we're not anticipating any widespread heavy rain over the next 7 to 10 days either, which is some good news. We do need to dry out, and we have made some improvements on our drought conditions from last week. The down arrows indicating that we've scaled down not only the percentage of Wisconsin underneath abnormally dry conditions to now 57%, but also moderate drought conditions below 30% of the state. So that is some good news, but we do need to dry out. So these next couple of days with the little amounts of rain that we could see may be beneficial to get that the water back into the ground. We're looking at a pretty seasonal day overall for your Friday after those clouds move on in, with the temperatures in the upper 40s to low 50s. Let's take a look at that 10-day forecast. Now, next week is Wisconsin Severe Weather Awareness Week, and the statewide tornado drill is on Thursday. Until then, we sit pretty quietly in the 40s and 50s all throughout the next 7 to 10 days.
Thank you, Blaze. Well, on the heels of Election Day, the Marquette Law School released its latest poll.
It looked at how people are feeling about the policies of the Trump administration and many other political topics. The director of the Marquette Law School poll, Charles Franklin, is back with us today. Hi, Charles.
Hello. Good to be here.
Good to see you. So this poll was taken before President Trump announced his sweeping tariffs, but you did get a chance to ask people how they're feeling about tariffs.
Right. We finished the poll. This is a national poll, by the way. We finished it last week before he told us the details on Wednesday. People are very skeptical of tariffs. 58% think the tariffs will hurt the economy. Just 28% think they will help, and 14% think it won't have much effect either way. And this is a place where, among the president's base, only 52% of Republicans say they think the tariffs will help the economy. And so it's a tough sell there. Large majorities of independents and Democrats think they'll hurt the economy.
Earlier, we had that story about kids learning how to save money. I think everyone is trying to figure out how to save some money because inflation is a big concern right now. What did the poll say about that?
There we also see real skepticism, and greater skepticism now than we saw before. About 58% think inflation is going to rise. About 30% think it'll go down. But back in December, right after Trump was elected, 41% thought inflation would come down. And he slipped in that perception with Republicans and independents from December till now. So a lot of worry about inflation, and it seems to be getting more worried rather than less worried.
What about his overall approval rating?
Down only a modest amount. In January, right after he took office, we had it at 48 approve, 52 disapprove. It's in this poll, 46 approve, 54% disapprove. So just a 4% drop in the net approval, down 2 points on approval and up 2 points on disapproval. Other polling is also showing some slippage, some by more, some by less, but sort of the mid-40s is where we have him.
And of course, we just had our big Supreme Court election. I would imagine this poll was before that, but how are the respondents feeling about the court?
Well, first of all, it's the highest approval of the U.S. Supreme Court that we've seen since 2022. 55% approve of the court. That had dropped as low as 38% in recent years after the Roe v. Wade decision was overturned. But it sort of pales to the 65% approval we saw back in 2020.
Wow. Did you ask about Elon Musk?
We did, and he's not very popular. In the national data, 38% favorable, 60% unfavorable. Here in Wisconsin, in our early March poll, it was 41% favorable. So you can see that he's pretty far underwater in both the state and the national numbers. Usually about 5 or 6 points worse than Trump is doing on those measures.
Interesting.
Yeah. Thank you very much for being on with us. We'll see you again next time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charles. Great to see you.
Coming up on Live at 4.
Josh is in the 608. He's checking out UW-Madison's science experiments. That's what you and the whole family can enjoy. He'll have the details when we come back.
In the 608, the UW-Madison science experiments are back this weekend.
Now, this is something the whole family can enjoy. Our Josh Spreiter is on campus with a preview.
Science is cool, and that's what this weekend is all about. UW-Madison Science Expeditions is back, and this is a great opportunity for your family to explore science. Joining us to talk a little bit more about this is one of our favorite faces, Hattie McLean. Hi, Hattie.
Hi, Josh. How are you?
Oh my gosh, I'm wonderful. Thanks for having us into the museum. This weekend is such a big one for UW-Madison.
It really is. We're super excited to welcome the public to UW-Madison. It's our science open house. There'll be activities all across campus. You name it, from astronomy to zoology. You can try it all. And the cool thing about science expeditions is that it's really hands-on. You can touch a lot of things, you can do things, you can experience things. It's perfect for all ages.
So you have a little example for us today, because like you said, there's a little bit of everything.
There is, yeah. We're in the Ingersoll Wonders of Physics Museum right now in Chamberlain Hall. It's going to be open all weekend and staffed. So you can come in, bring the family. The great thing about this museum is that you can touch everything. So it's very interactive. And I have a larger scale model of something that we actually have in the museum. This is our resonant frequency demonstration. So all buildings have a certain frequency that they vibrate at. And if they vibrate at their resonant frequency, with each oscillation, the vibrations and the shaking becomes bigger. So I thought I'd show you how that works. If I just move the table a little bit, do you notice that there is one building starting to move a little bit?
Just the big one closer to you.
Yeah, the big one is really rocking and rolling. But if I start to move the table a little faster at different frequencies, you can see that you can eventually get all of the different buildings to vibrate.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that the table is shaking so much. The little building is going crazy, but the big one, is just standing tall.
It's interesting to see like the transfer of power just within that right there.
Yes, and it really doesn't take much. So it's really fun for kids to come in and try their hand at getting each building. Am I getting that third one to shake? Well, I don't know if that was the best, but
yeah.
You get the idea.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. So this is just an example of one of the many things that you guys have going on this weekend.
Yes, there's so many things happening on campus. The Discovery Center will be very active on Saturday, especially from 10 to 1 with the expo. Tons of different stations. Try your hand at many, many different science things.
Awesome. Well, Hattie, thank you so much for having us in. We appreciate it. It's good to see you.
Yes, nice to see you too.
If you'd like to learn more about UW-Madison Science Expeditions and the full schedule, I have a link up on channel3000.com. In Madison, I'm Josh Brighter, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Josh. How great to see Hattie.
Yeah, we miss you, Hattie.
Yeah, we certainly do. We'll have to go down and do some science expeditions. That was pretty cool, actually.
It was. I like that.
Coming up on Live at 4, a cool weekend and maybe even some snow is on the way, but we are looking at a warmer week ahead.
So close, everyone. Then the deadline for the sale of TikTok is fast approaching. What lies in store for the popular app?
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
And there is a look outside. Where are we? Is that State Street? Mm-hmm. Okay, there we go. And I'm used to looking at it from the other direction.
Yep, everybody's a little bundled up today with jackets on, and some showers are on the way. Blaze is out on the weather patio. Not now. Right now, the sun's out. It looks nice out there.
Yeah, partly sunny, a few clouds here and there, but we're seeing some sunshine right now, and that's what we'll continue to see for the next couple of hours before the sun sets, is these mix of sun and some clouds, too, and then tonight will become more cloudy. We are going to continue to sit in temperatures in the 40s, a few 50s still out there across southern Wisconsin, but for the most part, it is a pretty quiet afternoon. As we continue to make our way through the rest of this week, we are going to watch as showers do return as we head into your later Friday afternoon, continue overnight into your Saturday, and then we wrap up. We're going to see more similar conditions to what we're seeing right now. Partly sunny to mostly cloudy on Saturday. Sunday night into Monday, a rain-snow mix, but for folks who are not looking forward to the snow, it is not going to stick around, and it looks to be minimal in total accumulations. We're going to take a look in the full forecast and what we can expect for your upcoming weekend, time out those rain chances, and then talk about our temperatures as we head into next week. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Blaze, thank you. 2 months after an Amber Alert was issued for a missing pregnant teenager from Beaver Dam, 17-year-old Sophia Franklin has been found safe in Nebraska. Franklin, who is 5 months pregnant, was found at a truck stop near Omaha, Nebraska, by a trucker who became suspicious when she saw Franklin with 40-year-old Gary Day, the father of her unborn child.
2 males and a female. The female was pregnant and younger, and the other males were older. And the female that was in the first truck that drove into the bus or truck stop thought it looked suspicious and thought it didn't look right, so she decided that she was going to go over and have a conversation with them. So she went over and had a conversation with Sophia, which she didn't know was Sophia at the time, and started talking to her and asking her a lot of questions because she felt this didn't seem right. It didn't seem to her that this was not something normal for her, so she had to ask some questions.
Authorities are continuing their work on the case, and Franklin is expected to be reunited with her family shortly.
President Donald Trump's sweeping new tariffs take effect today. President Trump is imposing a 10% baseline tariff on nearly all trading partners, then hitting dozens of countries with what President Trump calls reciprocal tariffs. China faces a 34% tariff. The EU faces a 20% reciprocal tariff. The White House says they're roughly half of what those countries are charging in the U.S. And today, the administration's 25% tax on imported cars and car parts also go into effect.
Our Ellie La Liberté shows us what it will mean if you're in the market for a car.
Those auto tariffs went into effect today. So what will it mean if you're in the market for a car or need your car fixed? Well, that answer is complicated.
There's going to be an increase of, about $10,000 to the average car, maybe $12,000, depending on the car.
Moses Altek, a marketing professor at UW-Madison, says the impact of the tariffs will depend on how long they're in place for.
Tariffs could actually be good in the very short run, and they're disastrous in the long run.
The goal of these tariffs for the Trump administration is to make auto companies rethink where they're making cars and bring manufacturing back to the states. But according to Altek, it will first impact the American consumer.
If it's short-lived, it's short-lived. And if it lasts longer, well, you and I are going to be paying more at the pump, and we're going to be paying more at the car dealership and at the grocery store.
Tonight at 6, hear how one Madison auto sale and repair shop says the tariffs could impact consumers and business. Reporting on Madison's east side, Ellie La Liberté, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Ellie. We'll see you at 6. And because of these tariffs, automaker Stellantis announced a pause on production at some of its Canadian and Mexican assembly plants.
Well, the numbers on Wall Street today, it was the worst day in the market since 2020. The Dow is down a little more than 40 points, NASDAQ 16.5, and the S&P 500 just over 5 points.
Oil futures dropped more than 7% today as President Trump's tariffs sent financial markets, as you just saw there, reeling. Following the announcement, OPEC agreed to hike supply more than expected beginning in May amid concerns that a global trade war may dampen demand for crude oil.
Well, the deadline for TikTok to change ownership is this Saturday, with the Trump administration confident a deal will be reached to avoid a shutdown for its 170 million U.S. users. Amazon has expressed interest in buying the app, joining Blackstone and Oracle. The White House insists TikTok must separate from its Chinese parent company ByteDance for national security reasons.
Well, the 2025 draft is coming to Green Bay soon, and the Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection is warning people against identity theft. Scammers may target consumers with surveys, quizzes, and a lot of fake apps asking for personal information. Experts recommend using credit cards for anything that you buy, as they offer fraud protection, and being vigilant for card skimmers at ATMs or businesses. Well, still to come on Live at 4, we hear about how reducing your cholesterol can actually reduce your risk of getting dementia.
Yeah, Dr. Zorba Pastor is here. He'll join us in just a moment. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. A brand new study finds that lowering your cholesterol may actually also lower your risk of dementia.
The study was released today in the British Medical Journal. Dr. Zorba Pastor is here to have this conversation with us.
Hi,
Love your
Zorba.
bow tie,
Good to
too.
be here.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
look sharp.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. I love it. I love doing it.
So what does this mean for people out there who may be at risk or
Well, first of all, we all worry, as you get older, we worry about memory loss. We worry about dementia. So there's Alzheimer's, there's strokes, little strokes, cardiovascular dementia, and there's Lewy body dementia. And you can't really differentiate them that well. There's no major test to do that. So this particular study, though, looked at the relativity of what cholesterol means. Now, LDL cholesterol is the bad cholesterol. We have the HDL, which is the good stuff. The LDL is the bad stuff. And we try to, if you have an elevated cholesterol, get that LDL down. Well, lo and behold, they found if your LDL cholesterol is 70 or below, that the risk that you'll develop dementia is reduced by 35%.
Wow. Now, what is normal LDL cholesterol?
Well, normal LDL for many of us is 120 or 130.
Oh, wow.
It's actually right up there.
Okay.
And if you have diabetes, we push it down. If you have heart disease, we push it down. But this study looked at whether or not if you just push it down, it was roughly 250, 300,000 people watched for a period of time. When you pushed it down, you reduce the risk that you're going to develop dementia. And that's probably because it's probably the cardiovascular dementia. We know lowering the LDL, the bad cholesterol, reduces the risk of heart attack and stroke, and now it seems to reduce the risk of dementia. So anyone who has an elevated LDL should look at this and say, should I take a statin or not? What about lifestyle? What about statins?
Yeah, and what about lifestyle? What can people do?
Always
Diet, exercise?
Always number one. Quit smoking, exercise more, get a more Mediterranean diet. We can all do better. Well, not all of us, but most of us who are not obsessive compulsive can really do better. But if that fails because of your genetics, then a statin is really the only cholesterol drugs that have been proven to do anything. Now, if you look at natural ways like red yeast, rice, they talk about extract, it turned out that was tainted with cholesterol-lowering drugs. In other words, the red yeast doesn't do much unless you actually mix it in China with some cholesterol-lowering drugs. So it's sometimes very difficult to do it naturally. Naturally is always good, but if not, the statins make a big difference.
Is it very difficult to get your bad cholesterol to that level?
Not for most people. For most people, I would say a good 90% of the people can tolerate statins, get it down if they have the right dose. The issue is nobody likes to take a pill. Well, they're right. Who wants to take a pill? On the other hand, if you're at risk for dementia, let's say somebody in your family has it, or if you're worried about getting dementia yourself, then you should consider a pill, because that's far better than having anything going wrong with your brain, with your memory, or with your thinking.
So it sounds like little steps people can take just to minimize.
Natural steps, lifestyle steps first. After lifestyle, if that fails, then a statin medication.
Very interesting.
Thank you very much.
Good to be
Thanks,
here.
Zorba. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Well, coming up on Live at 4, Blaze has another check of our first warn forecast. We'll be right back.
Oh, what a beautiful shot that is. We're giving the weather satellite a little spin. That is downtown Seattle, Washington. 51 degrees and partly sunny.
It's not raining.
No.
How about that?
It's cooler here.
All right, Blaze joins us with a look at our first warn forecast. Blaze?
We're coming off the heels of some severe weather, and as we look ahead to the next 10 days, we don't see much in the way of rain, and certainly not any severe weather on the horizon. So that is some good news. Just a few passing clouds tonight. Friday, we're going to become more cloudy with afternoon rain showers. They wrap up into your Saturday morning, leaving us with more seasonal and dry conditions as we look to end your weekend. So let's jump ahead to Friday on Future Track. Clouds will continue to increase throughout the day. Here comes that rain out of Illinois. It's looking to be hit or miss, so not everybody will see these showers, and it's going to mainly hug southeastern parts of the forecast area. We're already at 4 a.m. on Saturday, and the rain is beginning to move on out. We're left with partly sunny conditions for the rest of your Saturday. Sunday night into Monday, we could see a quick little clipper move through parts of the Midwest, bringing us less than an inch in the way of snow, and this is likely going to be melting as we're getting through the day on Monday into your Tuesday as well, because temperatures are continuing to remain well above freezing. So the snow is not going to be sticking around. And in terms of rain, I've pulled this all the way out, not only to this past weekend and beyond, but all the way into the following weekend. And we're picking up maybe 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch of rain at best. So we're not eyeing any big rainmakers on the horizon either, which is some good news. We've had a lot of beneficial rain over the last couple of weeks. We need that to be absorbed into the ground so that we can see the scaling back of those drought conditions. Now, next week is the Wisconsin Severe Weather Awareness Week, and on Thursday is when we're going to be doing the statewide tornado drill, the National Weather Services. There's going to be 2 tests at 1:45 and at 6:45, so there'll be a social media test post going out, as well as the NOAA radios will sound as well. This is a good time as we're continuing to make our way into severe weather season, to either make a plan with you and your family or to go over the safety plan, whether you're at home or say at school or at work, just so that you know how to stay safe if a tornado warning is issued for where you live. There is a look at our 10-day forecast. As I mentioned, minimal rain chances over the next 10 days. Temperatures staying pretty seasonal. Will be a little bit more chilly on Monday for that snow to move on in, upper 30s to low 40s, but we're looking at pretty sunny conditions overall, partly sunny conditions throughout the next 10 days, except for on Friday. We'll hang out in the 50s both Friday and Saturday. A little bit cooler to end the weekend.
A Connecticut college student has created an app that identifies ticks. It aims to give a more accurate idea of what type of tick you may have encountered and what diseases it could carry.
It could be handy as the weather is warming up and we all spend more time outside. Mark Siddall reports.
She actually went to the International Science and Engineering Fair, where you would compete against all the different countries.
This Wall of Honor at the King School in Stamford recognizes some of the achievements of past students, including New Canaan's Antonia Kolb.
She's so smart and so talented, and again, what I did was just facilitate her figuring out her next steps.
Kolb was diagnosed with 2 rare tick-borne infections a few years ago. The King School grad and now college student said she took part in a summer research program, and that's how she eventually developed an app that identifies ticks called Detect It.
By using images and training this neural network, it would figure out, oh, this is a black-legged tick, or this is a Lone Star tick.
You can take a picture of the tick on the app. It will tell you what kind it is, where it's located, the risks, and then links it to the Centers for Disease Control. It's now an important tool that may prevent Lyme disease.
For something that just started as just this passion project thing, I didn't think it would actually have any effect on people's lives.
For her hard work, Kolb has also received the prestigious Princess Diana Award. She actually received a royal letter from Prince William.
What was really rewarding was, being listed among these incredible people from around the world doing insane projects and just really impacting people. And so to be even named within that list was just such an incredible experience.
A couple of years ago, Congressman Jim Himes also picked the Detect It app as the winner of the Congressional App Challenge for his district.
What a great idea.
I love the name.
I do too. Yeah. I love the name too. Kolb says her app, by the way, is 90% accurate.
That's crazy.
Maybe something we could use in the summer.
Yeah,
whenever
absolutely.
It warms up.
Whenever I'm outside, I have like the phantom itchies, where I think there's a bug on me. I don't like it. I'll have to get detected. We are looking at a quiet evening tonight, partly cloudy conditions in the 30s, and we'll be in the 50s through the rest of the weekend.
All right, Blaze, thank you. We'll be right back. Tomorrow on Live at 4, it's officially spring when the Dane County Farmers Market gets ready to return to the Capitol Square. We'll have a preview of this year's market tomorrow. And later tonight on News 3 Now at 6, we have more on how tariffs will affect car sales in Wisconsin and around the country. Thanks for watching Live at 4 with us today, everyone. We hope to see you back here tomorrow. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.